Hello, everyone. I know this is kind of week one or week two of teleworking for you and for most of us. And I know I've gotten a lot of people mention about Zoom and how I'm going to have to learn how to use Zoom. And so I wanted to make sure I share with you just here are 7 tips to make sure that your Zoom meetings are as good as possible in Zoom recordings. So the first one when it comes to recording online is just make sure that your lighting is good. And it can be as simple as looking at the frame and seeing how you're positioned. So right now I have, in this, I'm in the living room right now. I have one window right here that's acting as my main light. And so you can see, I'm just gonna move my camera a little bit. So you can see like right there, I start to be a little more like ominous, even this would be the worst mistake of being backlit where, all right, hey, it looks like I'm being interrogated. So the first thing is just look at your lighting sources and, ideally, you want to be facing a little more towards the light if possible. So, just make sure that you're lit. Sometimes it might be getting a desk lamp, turning it on. So ideally, you want to look and see if there's an eye light. This is a technical term where there's a little light in your eyes. You can see the reflection. So that good. It just adds a little sparkle to your conversations and helps make sure that you are, coming up well. And so in this case, I have my window right here, and it's just kind of acting in technical terms as a key light and kind of lights me up a little bit more. The second thing is look at your background. So really take a minute before you start and just look around like, all right, this is a bookshelf here. It's not too disorderly, a few things on here, but just make sure that you take a look around before you start the conversation and turn your camera on, see what's going on, and just ask yourself whether the background looks good, isn't too messy, and just take a minute to see what it looks like. All right, so third thing is camera placement. So oftentimes you've been in a call and you see someone is like down here looking up like this, and it looks kind of like ominous and looks kind of weird. So just ideally in this case, so I am on my laptop. I'll just lift it up onto a few books, and now the camera is just slightly below eye level. Just a little bit better. And so try to get it off so you're looking a little more eye level, and you can look at the camera a little more easily. And so then fourth is framing. So oftentimes you want to keep your head about level, kind of centered for a video call. So, these kind of conversations are kind of awkward where it's like, just, hey, tilt your camera down. It's not that hard to do. Just tilt it down. So there's a little bit of headspace, but not too much. Then the fourth is audio. So ideally make sure at least have some earbuds that have, a little microphone. If you can, this will really up your game, is get some sort of audio device that you can plug in. So, all right, so in my case, I do have a microphone here, and I'm going to go into my audio settings on Zoom and switch to my Zoom microphone here, and then make sure, so you can kind of get a sense there, my audio levels are going to be a little bit clearer. And so if you can, definitely get some sort of audio microphone, especially if you're the one who's talking well. So, I mean, I often don't do this, but if you're giving a presentation, it can be helpful to have some sort of good audio. So I like to compare it to if you've ever been sleepy, or you're trying to attend a conversation and it's like a dimly lit room, you're tired and the audio's down, you have to strain yourself to hear. If you're doing a long conversation, it is really nice to have some sort of decent audio where it's a little bit clear. And so you can get some microphones, some USB microphones for $50, off Amazon, and they're not particularly expensive. If you are going to have to do a lot, it may be worth it to get some sort of decent, just anything is better than the no microphone. And especially with audio, always make sure you have some sort of earbuds. It will just help reduce some echo. Zoom is able to kind of mitigate some of that echo, but it's all even better if you could just have earbuds, then it kind of eliminates it. All right, then the sixth is make sure whatever service you're on that, I don't know if you've been in a conversation where you're talking with somebody and they just keep like pounding the table and it's like all shaky. And so just, have a sturdy table where you can really, adjust things. Sorry, let me get my microphone straight. That is the one thing. If you do have a microphone, make sure you're, kind of positioned right. Make sure that the table's not too shaky. And then, so the seventh is just make sure that your engagement is different, is suited for the group. So one of the mistakes I've seen is that people assume, especially if you're teaching and you're going to presenting a bigger class, that in a classroom setting, we wouldn't have multiple people talking at the same time. It just doesn't work. But here, because if you go down your Zoom and look at the chat function, you can actually invite multiple people to speak at once. So I would actually encourage you, ask your audience a question. Say, all right, where are you guys from? And then once they type it in, actually read off some of the answers. And so that way actually really helps people feel validated and lets them know that, yes, this in fact is, like if you're doing a Zoom meeting or any kind of bigger webinar, it lets them know, hey, this is actually live and not just a quick recording that's on a replay. And so it just feels really validated, honestly, to hear your feedback echoed in. And if you have a bigger group, you can, in fact, type in a lot of stuff or read a lot of answers, or even ask questions. So, what's your guys' biggest struggle during the season with Zoom meetings? And just read off the answers and say, all right, thanks, Jake. Thanks, Sarah, or just whatever it is. And that will really encourage people to feel validated. And then as a bonus, always make sure if it's in a kind of classroom setting, you can always have the recording on so that you can, record what you're talking about and then upload it for people later. It's really hard to get everyone on a call at the same time, but you can always, record it, post it. And then also there's some services out there like otter.ai where you can actually transcribe it. If someone wants to kind of skim through the transcription, you can get like 600 minutes for free. And so, I really encourage you to do that. So I guess that ended up being, closer to nine tips for Zoom calls. Let's see, can I add one more in? Let's see. And also, yeah, bring people in. I'll add this as a 10 tips is, if you're in a bigger classroom setting, bring people in for questions and let them ask them live, because they will actually enjoy that experience of like, oh, wow, I was presenting, especially if it's a larger group. I enjoy being allowed to ask a question, and that will really allow people to feel important and validated. And so I know during the season, it's kind of tough having to transition to everything being virtual, but I hope you were able to take something away from these 10 tips. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I'd love to help. All right. And also look at the camera at times. So don't just look at yourself. Look at the camera. That will help you feel a better connection to everyone. So, all right, keep washing your hands and hang in there.